So the first time around, kind of like last week, something went wrong. Was that last week? Yeah, last week. Apparently I did this a minute ago and there was no sound. So I'm pretty certain there's sound now, and I'm going to do it again because I don't give up. This is the key, right? You don't give up. And if you feel good enough from the inside out, you're able to weather storms and weather things going not well, and you just get back up and do it again. So this week's blog, or actually this past week's blog, because a new one's coming out later today. I'm a little slow this week. But this week's blog was on feeling good enough from the inside out, and why that's so hard. Because intellectually, hopefully most of us recognize that this is important and this is true, that we need to feel good enough from the inside out. And yet, moment to moment, it's really hard to practice that. Catherine, can you hear me before I go on my whole another 5-minute video? Hopefully you can hear me. So the deal is this, like, even if we know that it's important to feel good enough from the inside out, it is really hard to practice that, because from the time that we were little, we were conditioned to be connected to our outside world. We needed to be connected to our outside world in order to survive. We needed our food from our parents and our care from our parents and our attention and love. All of that we need from the outside in order to survive. And then as we get a little bit older, every time we have big milestones and people clap, it feels so good. In school, we get good grades. It feels so good. Did we get a good enough time at the track this week? Did we get the medal? All of that external validation feels really good. And that's real. Okay. And then, as we get older, we recognize that while it feels really good and it's real, there's something about it that is very unstable, because there's plenty of moments in our life where we don't get that external validation. And if we don't get that external validation, what happens? If we're completely reliant on it from the outside in those moments where we don't have a big win, we're going to be really fragile. And we're going to have a hard time getting back up, recording a second take of a video if you need to, right? So that's why it's so important to start to shift this and start to practice this. And it continues to be really hard because the external validation continues to feel really good. And now, especially in our society with social media and all the likes and the shares and all like the pings that come that feel so good, it's hard to not get sucked into that. So it takes mindfulness to remember to kind of value things and weight things in an appropriate way. Of course, it can feel good to have, people like your video and share your video or your pictures. But how much does that count compared to whether I worked really hard that day and whether I was of service that day, whether I was brave that day? That's why being aware of our core values and really living them and putting a lot of weight on that can kind of weatherproof us or future-proof us for the days when we're not getting the external validation, for the days when we have a lot of failures, setbacks, make a lot of mistakes, things don't go well. It's the grow day instead of the glow day, right? If we are feeling good enough from the inside out, focused on our core values, we'll be able to stay positive in those moments when there's a lot of discomfort, because it will never be comfortable to fail. It will never be comfortable to make a mistake. It's never comfortable when you record a whole video and there's no sound and you have to do a second one. That's not comfortable. And you have to push through that discomfort if you want to achieve anything great. And we know that, but what are the skills that help us actually do it? That's why the core values are so powerful and so important. If we focus on the core values, we use them every day. On the days where we really, really have lousy days, where it's like one thing after another that's painful and uncomfortable, at the end of the day, we can look back and be like, well, I did my best. I showed up. I kept getting back up. I stayed compassionate. I stayed brave. Those are the things that kind of give us that fuel from the inside out to keep going and not give up on whatever our dreams are, whatever it is that we're trying to accomplish. So that's the power of the core values. And that's the power of connecting, really connecting with this concept of feeling good enough from the inside out. And just know that's only one part of self-esteem. Like healthy self-esteem has, I think, 4 parts, depending on who you talk to. But 4 key parts of self-esteem, all of which are important. But this feeling good enough one is super, super important to cultivate, work on, really, really cement ourselves in, because it will give us so much power in achieving everything we want to achieve. So thanks for tuning in a second time, if this is your second time watching the video, and I'm sorry the first time there was no sound. I have no idea why. Hopefully there's sound here. And you can always go to my website, goldevolution.com. There's a bunch of free stuff on there. The first chapter of my book is there for free. There's a morning meditation for free. There's a breathing guide, because our breath is a really important tool that we can use on the good days and the challenging days. And we always have that with us. And it's an incredibly powerful tool. So go to my website, check that out, and definitely keep giving me feedback. Things that are helpful, questions that you have, things you don't get, places that you're stuck. I really do care, and I'm doing this all to be of service. So thank you so much, everybody. Lots of love and gratitude, and have a great day.